Hey everybody, welcome to what I guess is going to be the first edition of Pro Wrestling X mailbag videos on YouTube. I want to thank you guys all for checking in. I especially want to thank everyone for the response we got to the Pro Wrestling X State of the Union video that we released a few weeks ago. All you fans for commenting on the video, for sharing it. It does so much to bring more people to the project, which is what we need, because no matter how many of you love what we're doing, we need a lot more so I can pay the programmers, the artists, and the animators and whatnot to keep making this game, because I'm just a dude like you who doesn't actually know anything about doing that kind of stuff and is just trying to get a damn game made. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it, especially all of the other websites that picked up and promoted the video, like Gaming Ring, Wrestling Observer, Pro Wrestling Digest. We love you guys. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. So let's get to some of the questions and comments that you sent in recently and see what kind of answers I can hopefully give you that make some kind of sense. First question, what kind of computer am I going to need to run Pro Wrestling X Uprising? Well, I won't know the exact specs until we are completely done beta testing and whatnot, and take out or add any sort of effects or whatnot we need to add that might affect the speed of the game. But so far I can tell you I'm running the game, and always have been, on like a 5-year-old XP desktop, no problem, and also a relatively newer, I would say 2-year-old laptop running Windows 7, no problem again, even though it just has a crappy onboard, video card, generic whatever. It hasn't been a problem at all, getting about 90 FPS on the game. So hopefully it should all hold true when the game finally releases, but of course we will release some actual specs when we know exactly what they may be. Next comment. I didn't realize Dave was Ukrainian. Yeah, totally. Ukrainian, man. Vodka is a food group. Thank you very much. Can I order Pro Wrestling X t-shirts, please? Yeah, you totally can. But we won't send you any because there are none. We've always had a policy from day one that any of the shirts or merchandise that we produce and release, from the black shirt that I wore in the State of the Union address to this awesome red Wrestling Gamers United shirt, all the way back to the white "You Know What a Shining Wizard Really Looks Like" t-shirt, have always been limited production runs. We will never ever make duplicates or more of those shirts. There will be no cheesy anniversary editions or whatnot of those shirts. They're done. They are never being made again. If you got one, learn to love them, because no one else is ever going to get one. So yeah, that's the answer to that question. We may produce a new t-shirt in the future, but really right now we are a game development company, not a t-shirt producing company. So it's all about the game right now. T-shirts later, if at all. Thank you. Can I still donate money if I already pre-ordered the game? Yeah. Sure, but not right now. I would love to take your money to help pay for all the stuff I previously mentioned, but right now, really, we feel that we have completely taken enough of your guys' money in the form of pre-orders and donations, and really, at this point, it's up to us to prove that we can deliver a game. Until we have actually launched and produced a product, an actual video game that you can play, I don't feel comfortable taking any more donations, any more orders, or whatnot. So in the future, yeah, we'll let you donate some money, pre-order some future stuff, but for now, as far as Pro Wrestling X Uprising is concerned, pre-orders, donations are closed. We've got a job to do, and until we do it, we don't deserve to actually receive any of your money. But hopefully we'll earn that privilege in the future. Someone commented the blood on the mat in the State of the Union address looked really sweet. Yeah, glad you like that, but you weren't supposed to see that. Actually, there will be no blood confirmed, at least in Pro Wrestling X Uprising, for a whole slew of legal contract reasons that are just too painful to recollect. we may or may not be able to actually have blood in Pro Wrestling X Uprising. What you might have seen in that video was just some internal testing we've done in the event that in the near future we can actually make Pro Wrestling X a nice hardcore wrestling game with actual blood in it. But I'm glad you dig what you saw. At least we know that for the future you like the direction we will hopefully be able to go in. Someone asked, the fan letter book that I held up in the video, is it real? Yeah, it's totally real. It's not imaginary. In fact, I'll actually hopefully show you some pics in this video. I tore apart the book and wallpapered our development studio with fan mail. It might be hard for a lot of development studios to believe, but Pro Wrestling X fans number in a very, very, very large group, as proven by the fan letters that we've received. And this book that I held up in the last video, that's nothing. That's like the tip of the iceberg compared to what we've received in terms of emails and whatnot. So it's very real. Thank you very much for sending all this stuff in. It made a difference, as I pointed out in the last video. And hopefully we'll get a lot more, and we'll have the opportunity to build who knows what out of fan mail that we receive in the future. Very important question. How do I get involved in beta testing for Pro Wrestling X? To do so, you have to really be in the loop. Just subscribe to our newsletter on ProWrestlingX.com. At least show up and check the forum every week or so. You know, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. It's all like Facebook.com/ProWrestlingX, Twitter.com/ProWrestlingX, and that's how you will find out details to get into further beta testing. Right now, we are in super top secret closed beta testing, just doing beta testing internally as of today. Then we have a select group of external beta testers that are going to get their hands on it next, and then once they're done, because I really trust these guys, that when they're done, it's going to be almost ready to ship. We'll open it to the public, and then you guys can hammer the hell out of our game and tell us what sucks so we can fix it before it releases. But get in the loop, subscribe, follow us, check the website. It's all good, and then you'll find out how to get in on the beta testing. Another question, which I'm surprised we got, but in hindsight, not so much. Will there be a download link on release day? You know, I didn't really make it clear. I guess I kind of gave the impression that only the people who pre-ordered might get the game. And of course, is not true. When Pro Wrestling X is released, of course, everyone who pre-ordered it will get the game. But of course, there will be an option to actually buy the game on release day if you haven't already pre-ordered it. So yes, absolutely. Check the websites and all the social media whatnot, and yeah, you'll be able to buy and download Pro Wrestling X on release day. Absolutely. Good question. Thank you very much. Someone also asked, will you do a Kickstarter campaign for future Pro Wrestling X projects and releases? If you're not familiar with the Kickstarter, it's a website where companies can, post a project and ask fans to donate money to fund the project. Funnily enough, we kind of already did Kickstarter way back in the day. We've done a few rounds of pre-orders where fans actually kicked in donations and pre-orders to help fund Pro Wrestling X up to this point. So will we do Kickstarter in the future for perhaps the next Pro Wrestling X, the full version, or any expansions or whatnot? Perhaps, maybe. A small little word to the wise, though. We're a Canadian company. All Canadian, Ukrainian, or whatever you want to call it. But we actually aren't allowed to use the Kickstarter.com website per se, because they're only American, projects are allowed there. But in the future, hopefully they will open that up to us. Awesome, hardworking Canadians. Or there are other options too. You might be aware of India or Indiegogo. That also does the same sort of model that we might use in the future. But yeah, so long answer short, no, not Kickstarter. Yes, maybe something like it in the future, because we are a small enough company or studio per se that if we build up enough fans can totally fund and control what we do without having to go to outside investors or publishers. So that would be awesome. Thank you for the question. Someone asked, what can I do to help? Tell people, please. Like I said, we got a really great, cool group of fans and supporters right now. But are there enough of them to actually support an indie game studio to make the kind of game that a wrestling game is? Wrestling games are deep, very complicated. Especially considering we're not really shooting for a small sort of, arcade style, shallow gameplay experience, which other companies do, and they're great at that because they do quality projects. But what we're aiming for is, we're trying to make No Mercy 3 or 2, a virtual pro wrestling 3. We're trying to make King of Colosseum 3. You know what I mean? Like, that depth of game, because I'm not sitting at a computer doing it myself, programming, coding. I have to pay programmers and artists to do what you guys tell me you want in a game. It takes some cash, and not a tiny amount of cash. So if you can do anything, really, don't send me your money, or do send me your money when we're ready for it. But just tell people what we're doing. Just tell gamers and wrestling fans what we're trying to do. That is honestly the best thing you can do. It might seem like crap, it might seem like a whatever, but seriously, just tell people what we're trying to get done so that they can decide for themselves to support us or not. That is the biggest thing you can do for us, is spread the word. Comment on our videos, share our videos, join Facebook, share Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. Sign up for the forums. Tell friends to sign up for stuff. That is the best thing you can do to ensure the survival of independently developed wrestling games into the future. And hopefully we'll give you some tools to help you do that too. Thank you very much. Great question. Another question: where was the Pro Wrestling X State of the Union video filmed? Not sure why you care exactly, but it was filmed in my basement, not too far from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. In my basement, man. And it's probably another creepy parallel to early ECW, that we are filming all our promo videos and whatnot inside someone's basement. I guess you could call us the ECW of wrestling game developers. Let's just hope it ends better than ECW did. Who's playing the music? Who's playing the music in the Pro Wrestling X video? This is a completely self-indulgent question that I'm happy to answer. It's me. In a previous lifetime, I was a guitar player, producing indie albums and playing in bands and whatnot. The music you hear, I did. I think it's cool. I'm glad you think it's cool too, unless you were asking so you could avoid hearing any such music again in the future. I don't know, but a lot of the stuff you haven't heard yet, as far as menu music, wrestler themes, and whatnot, and menu music in the game, will be done by me. So I'm glad you dig it. Thank you very much. Let's see, next question. Who is the 8-bit wrestler behind you in the video? This guy right here is Tirador. I painted him on my wall because I don't know. He is the first wrestler ever designed for Pro Wrestling X, long time ago. He's the first wrestler ever 3D modeled for promo shots, for the prototype of the game, for the first playable version of the game. It was always Tirador. Tirador was our go-to standard wrestler dude to make and test in any version of the game, or whatever we had to do. It was always him. So that leads to another question. Will you make an 8-bit version of Pro Wrestling X? Yeah, probably, because I'm a sucker for punishment. I would actually love to do an old school 2D 8-bit wrestling game in the vein of Pro Wrestling X. Of course, right now we're focused on the proper Pro Wrestling X Uprising, getting a full version of Pro Wrestling X done. So my little pipe dream of doing an old school NES style 2-bit wrestling game is probably 5 years in the future at the very least. And ironically, if I put that game on the iPhone for 99 cents, I'd probably make more money than I ever will Pro Wrestling X. But what are you gonna do, right? Let's see. Last question. What was that side project you mentioned being involved in a few years ago that was secretive? I can't tell you. It was secretive. But I will tell you this. When that project is done, and hopefully all the rights and whatnot are cleared, we will have an expansion or whatever you want to call it, the Pro Wrestling X, that no WWE game will ever have. And it's really cool. And I think most old school wrestling fans like myself will really dig it. So, in the meantime, and in between time, that's it. The first edition of the Pro Wrestling X video newsletter. Questions, mailbag, whatever you want to call it. Thank you very much, guys. Keep kicking ass for us. We'll keep kicking ass for you. Have a good day. Talk to you later.